Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, and welcome to Geekt, your latest addition to the news, reviews, interviews, and everything across all things geeky and nerdy across all spectrums. This, of course, is our latter part to do with E3, the E3 special, 3 parts that we were supposed to be doing. And obviously, this is our general roundup, and amongst other things. So we're going to kind of start the show off with a little bit of a roundup of our sort of thoughts on E3, on the best bits, the worst bits, and things that shocked us, things that didn't. And I've got to be honest, I think it was a pretty sort of flatliner for me personally, but hey, you know, each their own. And then later on throughout the show, we'll have a discussion about sort of little bits and pieces to do with like the gaming industry for a start, where we think this is heading based on what we have seen from E3. And a couple of things thrown in for good measure. Because obviously I'd like to sort of touch a few subjects along the way, and obviously to help me do that is Mr. Kieran MacDonald. How are you doing?
Hello there. I am ill.
Yes.
So I am.
Play your violins, everybody. Hang on. Look, excuse me whilst I try to find mine. Excuse me.
Oh, this is how it's going down, is it now? This is how it's going to go down. Oh God, son of a bitch. So you can, yes, it's she's still looking. Oh, I love it. So yes, you could probably tell that I am a little bit more nasally these days. So hopefully that will have cleared by the next episode. But yes, I am ill and alive. You sound as good as ever. You know,
yes.
You and your aging body. Absolutely. Sorry, that's
my aging body. Yeah, well, yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
Give as good as you take. Give as good as you take. It's we've had some happenings in the general gaming community. This is not just video games. This is all over the place. I've been keeping tabs on the tabletop geekier side. So I'm going to have to cover some of that today, I think. I'm going to have to open it up as well, because there's some good shit.
Shit, mate.
There's some good shit right now. I'm really excited to see what they're bringing to the tabletop. Some of it is utter trash, I'm not going to lie. But that's for later on in the episode.
Someone else's trash is another person's treasure.
This is true. Yes. I can't complain. But me and a friend of mine, we were totally having a bit of a moment. But yeah, E3. So, what do we have? We have just disappointment. I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed.
I think we know at this stage what's coming. I don't know. I just don't feel as excited about it as I used to. I'm not getting that vibe from it anymore. No. It's kind of very corporate. It's stale is the word I'd use.
Yeah, it's gone the way of, we don't care for anything but your money.
Yes.
Which just leads us ever further into a black hole of discussion, because that's another topic.
No.
But what we saw, some of it was actually really good. I really, really enjoyed it. Devolver, especially, their whole like left hook and then right jab to the chin was fucking hilarious. And they had some great games to put on show. The whole indie scene was massive. And I'm not one for big indie games, but what I saw was like, oh my God, I'm so excited for indie stuff. Like, for the first time in years, indie is making a comeback. So move over,
AAA. So you feel like this
AAA.
is going to be a big deal then, indie games now?
Oh,
or do you think this is just a resurgence that's temporary?
I think this resurgence is going to be, I wouldn't say a temporary, but it's going to be one of those like rolling boils, like especially from the likes of Devolver. Every single game they announced was more of an indie game rather than a AAA title. We all know that.
I'm just hoping that they don't that this doesn't become a fad. Do you know what I mean? Because fads are very short-lived.
Yeah.
And it can be in to be a retro gamer, and then all of a sudden that dies out. But in my opinion, I mean, retro gaming has never disappeared anyway. It's just always been there. It's just something we've grown up with.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a massive fan of Pac-Man and Space Invaders. I've got pillows. I've got the mugs. I've got I've got a nightlight that's Pac-Man. Yeah, I've got stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day,
I
I
think
don't
we're
want it
gonna
to, I don't want it to
see.
be temporary. I want
No,
this to be something that sticks, and that's what really concerns me, especially on the level when we come to corporacy.
I think that
That concerns
the thing with especially Devolver's side is they're going and giving that right hook to the whole corporate like idea and the structure that we find ourselves in with just content. Obviously, we can sign up to Netflix and all these different streaming services, and they're all a service. It's just money. Whereas Devolver went, no, fuck off, just fuck off, because this about the games, and I think they kind of saw what E3 was becoming, like well ahead of time, and were like, hey, we need to make fun of it, and they did a really good job. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to and hope that this is a new leaf for Devolver. We've not heard of Devolver for what years.
a good while.
They were sort of like, I thought they disappeared, honestly. You've obviously got the big names in just gaming. Obviously, Activision. You've got Microsoft. You've got Blizzard. You've got Bethesda. You've got all these big names, and they just release trash every year. And then Devolver come along and go, have a bunch of stuff you haven't heard of before. Hope you enjoy.
I think it's great. I hope they do continue that. I really do. I think this could be good for them.
And
Yeah.
the likes of Square coming out left field and go, here, have some Final Fantasy because you're all a bunch of fucking nerds.
Yes, and we like that.
Oh, we do. Oh,
That was one of my highlights. I've got to be honest.
Everything Square announced, I was like, I'm excited for this. I'm
Yes.
really excited for this. Oh wait, it's more Final Fantasy. I'm not half-mast anymore. There's not much more you can go. So I think Square, for me, Square and Nintendo won E3. Between the two, they did Square is probably up there, just ahead of Nintendo. But Nintendo did great. They announced some massive games to come out this year and next year. And if I had to choose one game that was my highlight, it will be The Legend of Zelda sequel, Breath of the Wild. As much as I love Final Fantasy, I'm a massive Square Enix fan. I have so many good memories of Breath of the Wild that a sequel is just like, I'm excited. Clean up on
it's
aisle
one of the
5.
highest rated games of all time. Well, one of them anyway, because wasn't it the Ocarina of Time? I think it was.
Ocarina
That received the highest out of Metacritic. I think it's something like 98 or something.
Or 99 or so. It's definitely one of the highest rated games of all time, one of the older ones. So it's got some big boots to fill. But
it has.
Nintendo, just out of the park. Fantastic show. What they do every time they put out a Nintendo Direct, and it's just it's near enough perfect. What they do is near enough perfect. I wish I could say the same for Sony, but hey,
yeah,
we had some good stuff. We had some bad stuff. We had games that were released, and then we got nothing else because why would we? But like we touched on last time, I think they're winding up for something big. I can feel it.
Yeah, it's kind of strange how they've gone so quiet. Like we literally had, again, we touched upon this the other day. If excuse the noise in the background, by the way, my rat has decided to wake up of all the times. Trust Loki. But yeah, basically it's just it's one of them things where I don't know what they're doing, because the last announcements they had was State of Play, which were what, February?
They did one
in
May or March. May, May, I think. May.
And again, so they've had two opportunities right there to announce something worthy. Now, the only thing out of all of that, out of the two times they've come out and said, this is what we're bringing to you next, the only thing that's any good is Zero Horizon Dawn. That is it.
That's the biggest thing to announce.
That's the biggest. Let's face it, that's the one that everyone's looking forward to. Based on the first game and what I've seen of it so far in the gameplay, it does actually look fucking incredible.
It looks incredible.
Beautiful.
So
oh, absolutely.
PlayStation
And the first
5
game
is
still
just
to
gonna.
this day plays so well still, and it holds up so beautifully. I mean, I love it. Like the storyline, everything about it. It's one of my favorite games. Like I've said before, it's in my top 5.
Yeah.
But you've also got this first announcement, I think, was just them sort of saying, oh, by the way, we're giving you a couple of DLCs, a few updates for Crash Bandicoot, Nothing really kind of stuck out.
It's never substantial, I think, with Sony, and I think they kind of know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're very clever about what they announce, and that's why I think they're winding up for something big, especially when you think that obviously you've got the holiday season. There's always a summer drought in gaming. Always, there's never anything happens in the summer. And then you've got that after the summer sort of starts to peter out and you get into the holiday season, as it were. You've got the fall time. That's when gaming just goes absolutely fucking nuts. So I've got a feeling they're going to drop something just at the end of summer and it will be huge. Don't quote me on that, but it's kind of what I feel they're going to do. They have to. At this point, they've got a PlayStation 5. They haven't got enough units of that anyway. But all of those early adopters, they've got games, but they're not all PS5 games. But they need to drop something that's big on PS5 and big on PS4 as a cross-platform or a multi-release thing. Ratchet and Clank would have been one of those massive titles that would have honestly just been as good as it is on PS5 on a PS4. But nope, PS5 only. Sucks to be you if you have a PS4. That just winds me up, that one.
It's a kind of a do or die. Well, not a do or die situation. I think Sony themselves know that they don't really need to rely too much on certain things. I think they know their own capabilities. They know what's coming next. They're in the business. They have been for many, many years. They've been competing against Xbox for a long time, as have Xbox with them. Nintendo kind of went through the back door and went, fuck this shit, and I'm going my own way. I ain't competing with you lot. And I love that. I love that about Nintendo. They're like the rebels in this situation, so fair play to them. But I think at the moment, Sony need to come up with something fucking epic right now, because I've heard so many people go, do you know what? I feel like Sony has sold me down the garden path. I'm paying out all this bloody money monthly towards their for their monthly subscription.
Yeah.
You've got PlayStation Now, which again I was having this discussion this morning with my partner, and it just, you're putting about $8.99 into it a month, and you're getting your money's worth within reason. But there's a lot of junk on there as well that, quite frankly, I'm sorry, but it's a little bit embarrassing when you compare it to the Game Pass. Now, that's another thing I want to touch upon, because many people will remember E3 for the amount of new games, new releases that'll be on Game Pass, and in fact, some of those people will also be getting, obviously, first dibs on these games before, proper release. So, again, that is a selling point for them. And I'm kind of like half and half on that. I love the idea of it. I think it's amazing. And I think, for those that can't afford to go out there and pay £70 or £80 for a bloody game that's most likely unfinished. And again, this is something we're going to be talking about after. But it's a lot of money, and a lot of people can't do that. So this gives people the opportunity to get their hands on AAAs that they most likely wouldn't be able to afford outright. So actually, there's a bit of a weird balance for me. I really get it for those that cannot afford to pay straight out. I think it gives people an opportunity to own some AAAs within their consoles, to get stuck into, to enjoy. That they otherwise may not have been able to. So perhaps that's the market that they're trying to sort of tap into now. They're understanding that maybe the nature of the demographic of people that are playing these consoles now, we are getting to a point where games are getting more and more expensive. And I think Microsoft know this. They're tapping into a market where they're going, actually, yeah, these games are getting more expensive. And are people going to pay full whack for this? the only people we know that will are what they call the whales, and they're the people that they tap into. These are the same people that they rely on to buy the DLCs, the loot boxes, the content that basically drives these companies to be more corporate and more greedy. So fundamentally, again, we're the ones feeding the machine, and the machine, gets bigger. That's on us. That is on us. We can't keep pointing fingers at CEOs, bosses, devs, whatever you want to do. Throw your anger at whoever you like, but the person you should be angry with is none other than yourself. We are responsible for that. And we need to start taking some responsibility. So actually, I think Microsoft's sort of Game Pass thing for me was a bit of not a shock, because obviously we knew that it was there, but I don't think we realized just how many AAA releases and how many exclusives they were going to have. Very clever. They're on the ball right now, and they are, mate. They've got that. They're ticking. They're ticking away.
They've
Sony, mate.
I think they know the thing with Microsoft is, I'm not a fanboy. I mean, I guess I kind of am, but I'm not. I've said in the past I've owned Xboxes. Yeah. I still have a 360. It's not technically mine.
So I can totally relate to them. It's fine.
It's like they went through like this. There's been like a back and forth between Microsoft and Sony for years. Oh, this console's better because this console's better because this. Like, fuck, shut up. But Microsoft have done this very, very cleverly this time. They've announced and released a system that not only is a gaming machine at heart, which is what the Xbox One should have been, they've done a very clever slow boil on its games. Now, Game Pass is the biggest selling point for an Xbox console. Obviously, you can get day one announce and release and whatever it is that you want day one. And it's... Now they've gone, ooh, E3. Ooh, we've got a bunch of cool shit under our fucking sleeve. Oh, and they've been watching. They've seen what Sony did. They've seen what PlayStation have got and gone, haha, we've won this, boys.
We can do better than that.
And they just went bam, bam, bam. And they've not done that since the original Xbox. That just goes to show how many years.
They have been quite quiet, haven't they?
Oh, they've been
for
very
how many
quiet.
years? A good sort of, I'd say 6, 7, 8 years. Things have been very, very quiet from them.
And more. Like they had some heavy hitters on 360, but they've not had like as many heavy hitters as Sony and PlayStation have for X amount of years. It's one of those. They're now really, I think they're able to punch above their weight because they know their system is capable. They know that it can do more.
We all know that. Their system, and equally actually PlayStation 5's too. But again,
but they've got the know-how. I want to get my hands on both systems purely for research purposes, and
we do as well.
It's one of those things. I've always tried to have the latest and greatest at the time that I can have it, be it that at release or several months down the line. At the moment, I can't do that, but I want to get my hands and test the raw power that Microsoft claim its system has against the PS5 and play the games. Just enjoy the games, because the games that they're announced are incredible. I mean, Halo, it shouldn't exist. For all intents and purposes, they don't need to do another one. But it's there, and it looks insane.
It does look good.
Oh my god, you take that into perspective over the Xbox One and Halo 5, and the difference is night and day. Like, not just graphically, but from what I can tell of the story, from what I can tell of what they're putting into the game, the whole idea and the world they've created is just insane. So I just want to get my hands and just leverage the power of a new generation. And Microsoft seem to have got that with their games. And yeah, only time will tell to see how well that lasts, I think, because if Sony has got a big bomb to drop, they're going to drop it. And we know what that's going to happen.
I really hope they do, and they do it soon, though, because I think, again, a lot of people are feeling a little bit miffed, I think. And again, there's a lot of people I know that are talking about leaving PlayStation behind. and just saying, "Do you know, they had an opportunity, they blew it. They just didn't bother." And it's been very quiet this year, and they haven't said nothing.
I think they're going to be very, very disappointed if they do chuck in the towel. That's just my opinion. That's how I see it. Microsoft, sure, they beat Sony. They fucking destroyed them.
They nailed them. I'm sorry, but they did. As much as there are some games on there on the PlayStation that are obviously coming out that I am keeping an eye on. There's that other one that I was talking to you about last time that I mentioned that was really good. I can't remember what it's called now. I had it written down. But yeah, there's that like an RPG that's coming out. When is that coming out? Again, I can't remember.
Too many.
Off the top of my head, I should have made a note about it. But yeah, at the end of the day, there are like 2, 3 that I can think of off the top of my head right now that's reasonably soon that I'm looking forward to the release of. That's it. There is nothing really up until that point. I know I've touched on that thing, the game that's due to come out, Black something or other. It's to do with the Monkey King.
Yeah,
it's like a posh version of Dark Souls, so people keep calling it Monkey Souls. And it looks absolutely incredible. So we know that we've got some really good, strong contenders out there that are up and coming, that are still in production, that look absolutely stunning. And yeah, but still, I think Xbox have smashed it. I'm not a massive Xbox fangirl, never have. I've owned them, and I've owned lots of them because they don't last very long. But, we don't talk about that. Yeah, so I really do feel like I want to kick Sony's arse a little bit right now. So I am quite angry with them. I'm kind of like, you've had all this time. You've given 2 little snippets, 20 minutes here and 25 minutes there of a little bits of gameplay of a couple of games. And then you give us a couple of DLCs. Oh, thank you so much, Sony. Thank you so much for putting the effort in and making it worthy for people. What you do seem to do, however, is consistently take people's money and, give very little back, I feel. And a lot of people won't agree with me on this one, and I get that. But when you come, like at the moment, we're paying for, not that it's obviously no one's holding a gun to our heads. So again, I'll put that there. But yeah, we obviously pay for our subscription, which is like we pay for it monthly because things are tight from time to time. So, sometimes we just have to say, we've got to let it go this month. But we haven't had to do that, thankfully. We've managed quite nicely. So, we're not in that predicament at the moment, but I'm not going to say it won't happen. So that's why we always say we'll keep it monthly. So that's like what, $4.99? And then it's like, well, that's $4.99 each, which again, this really annoys me. Now, I wish they did have some kind of family package because it is more often than not now that there's more than 1 or 2 consoles in people's houses. It's quite common. So I do wish they'd make things a little bit more accessible for families. But again, everyone's just going to say it's a luxury, so you don't really need it. Well, I beg to differ. It might be a luxury, but it saved a lot of lives this coming last sort of couple of years. It saved people from possible suicides, which sounds really strong, but it's the truth. People rely on it for their mental well-being, and actually, since all this has happened, there's been more research scientifically into it to prove that actually it is good for people to game, and it brings people together, and it causes bonding and friendships, and it also gives people a sense of routine, no matter whether it's indoors or outdoors. It's a reason for them to get out of bed, so that's a good thing. I see that as a positive thing. But then you've got PlayStation Now, which is like $8.99 a month each. So there's 50 quid nearly enough for us. Boom, just gone like that. What on? So that I'm able to use the games that I've already bloody paid for. That infuriates me. I have bought the license to use that bloody game, and you're charging me a $5 for me to be able to access the internet that I'm already paying for to get across the server to get onto the game that I've paid for. Mate, it doesn't make sense anymore. These fees have got to go. I don't get that. I want to buy a game like I used to and not have any other money attached to it. Why are we being... Oh, God. Don't even... Oh, I'm so angry right now. I'm passionate about it, mate.
That's one thing, like, that. What I think why Devolver has taken this stand against the whole gaming as a service thing with a massive sucker punch, because gaming as a service, as a subscription, shouldn't exist. Like I get cloud gaming as a thing. It's been a thing on PC for a while, in different iterations, in different ways. There's different hardware out there, and obviously it's going to be a mainstay probably for the next forever. But it needs to improve. But it's going to be here for forever and a day. Cloud gaming is here to stay. But at this point, I think PlayStation Now and possibly Game Pass, although I don't really look into Game Pass all that much, should be included in their respective owners' subscription. So if you've got Xbox Live Gold, you should have Game Pass. Fucking, it shouldn't be a separate entity.
No, exactly.
Fine, charge more.
This is corporacy, though, again, isn't it?
Oh,
Stepping in. And I hate that. It's corporacy that's causing... Look, I'm for corporacy altogether because it needs to exist to make sure that people are employed. I get that. We need an economy, right? Even the gaming world does. Without it, it doesn't function correctly. However, the steps in which they are taking to bring this kind of... It's just greedy. Yeah. It's just complete and utter greed. It is worth more now than both the music and the film industry put together.
It's huge.
It's mental. There is no need for this anymore.
No.
I mean, you know, what I would like to see is for Xbox and PlayStation to put their money where their bloody mouth is and quit this whole kind of sub thing. If you do the sub thing, fine.
Oh.
Don't just give us a couple of measly shitty games that most of us have already gotten. How's about you do what Xbox is doing? The Game Pass, I think, is actually a really good idea. Really it is. For people that can't afford it, like I've said, that aren't on that kind of level where they can afford a AAA game. And I know I'm not going to be able to. Most of the games I buy, I wait for them to come down to 20 quid before I'll touch them with a barge pole. Yeah. So, because again, I won't feed the corporate machine as much as, you know, most others do.
If they included the Game Pass and PS Now inside the actual main sub, I would be more willing to use the service. Because, while I guess Game Pass is a separate entity because you can use it on PC, whereas PlayStation Now kind of doesn't have an excuse. You can use it on PC, but I'm not sure how well it works. And a lot of people are going to just use it on their consoles. It's just... And they can remote play their systems from their phones or their laptop or
which is awesome.
Anywhere in the world. So there's, for me, it should be included in the subscription. You know, hike the price of the sub, even by a $5. Fuck it, hike the price of the sub by a $5. I think you'll have a lot more people saying, "Okay, you're hiking the price, but we get PlayStation Now." Cool. So we've got that option to use it, and we don't have to pay extra because we're already paying for it. Because the sub is expensive enough as it is per year at 50 quid. So just bump it. Fuck it.
The problem I find with the PlayStation Now things, though, is there's literally only about 4 or 5 games that are worthy of even given a bit of playtime. I mean, I get it every month, but I've got to be honest. I've only ever really used it a handful of times. And even then, I've kind of gone, that game's crap, delete. That game's boring. It
needs to evolve. PlayStation Now needs to become something more akin to Game
modern.
Pass.
Yeah,
it needs
exactly.
More
AAAs, more games that are platinum on there. Come on now, liven yourself up, you know? Don't just keep putting third-rate shitty little kids games on it, because that's basically what it's full of. It's absolute junk. Some of it it's not great. I'm sorry, that's the reality of it. And Xbox have just shown Sony up left, right and center with what they've just produced. So I'm sorry. You know, you're either gonna have to beat them or join them, one or the other.
Yes. Time will tell. I think time is going to tell what happens with the announcement schedule of what Sony are planning. I'm eagerly watching, and hopefully, big mic drop and walk away from the stage and be like, "We already won, bitches." That's what I'm hoping. So, I think that just about rounds up our E3. I don't think we've got much more there, really.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like you say, I mean, the highlights most definitely were Zelda. Zelda was the main one. But for me, I have to say the main one for me personally was the Final Fantasy stuff. Square Enix. I'm sorry, everything they come out with, it was just, I can't believe you're doing this to me. This is amazing. And the new game as well. Oh my god, I love
new
you,
game.
Square Enix.
And it's like, oh, and we get what? Wait a minute.
What?
Hold up.
What?
We get 6 games?
Right.
What?
Oh, it was great. Look, I think what it is I knew Breath of the Wild was coming.
Yeah.
We knew that was coming again. I felt that they'd announced more at E3. So for me, it wasn't a surprise. It was kind of like, okay.
I think
we knew this was coming. Okay, we're seeing a bit more about it. Yep. Awesome.
The idea that they've won for me, especially with Breath of the Wild sequel, whatever they might call it. It could just be Breath of the Wild 2 for all I care. But it's the fact that they announced it and showed gameplay.
Yeah.
You know, in-engine, they showed a trailer of such, not necessarily gameplay, but they showed in-engine of what it's going to look like. The setting is obviously the same Hyrule that we're all used to in the Breath of the Wild, but we got to see new aspects, new story, new plot line, and it just left us guessing. And that to me was like, oh, hold up, I wasn't expecting that. Like, I was expecting them to say, oh, it's in development, it's going to come within the next year or so, that's all we've got. But no, they were like, and have some footage. wait, what?
Oh, it's great stuff.
Oof,
which leads me on to the next bit. You know, one of the main things for me, especially during E3 and during any event when it involves, whether it's consoles showing off their power, whether it's developers showing off the new games, please, for the love of God, will you all stop showing us cinematics? Show us gameplay, you know? When you're paying £50 to £80 for a game, I expect to see something. I don't want to be shown. And the pre-ordering. How can you pre-order something that you haven't actually seen in play?
Yeah. I think that's...
And all we've seen is a cinematic.
Like,
Ooh, cinematics. Ooh, that's like, special.
If you say in development, if somebody says, oh, the game's in development, but here's a few, like, pre-alpha or alpha build demos of how it could play, then that's like, oh, okay, that's alpha gameplay. You get a rough idea. They could
just be honest.
Yeah.
They could just be honest and say it's literally in development. We can't show you anything, and you know, but just drop a hint. This is what we're doing. You don't even need to show a cinematic. Just be honest. This is what we're doing right now. I don't want to see trailers anymore. No. I'm actually really sick of seeing them because this is what sells these games to us because we're stupid. Okay.
Yeah.
Humans are thick. We are stupid. We're dumbed down. We're idiots. Right. Sorry, but that's the truth. We literally, I'm calling it out for what it is, mate, because literally, we will sit there, watch a trailer, right? This game, most likely, just to say hypothetically, is an amazing trailer. Buy this game now. You know, that kind of shit. And then you've got, you know, your beautiful maiden with her swishing hair, big tits, blah, blah, and all that kind of crap, yeah? I'll save you. Big warrior with big muscles and shit, right? Oh, yeah, beautiful. Oh, I'm going to walk through these trees and this real-looking water. Look how lush it is. Oh, listen to my sounds of my feet crunching in the floor. And, oh, yeah, we recorded these sounds live from the Amazon forest. Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Is it good for you?
Right. But right, imagine that, okay? And then people are going like, oh my God, that looks so pretty. Oh my God, I really must partake in buying this material now. Here, take my money, bitch. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Right, stop.
Okay.
Stop. Right there.
I'm going to have to...
You're about to... What?
I'm going to have to say it right now, though.
What?
We did exactly that for Final Fantasy 14. We are no better. We
But the thing is with Final Fantasy 14, right, let me just put this here, right? That Yoshi P is not going to allow something out there that is substandard, subpar, broken, unfinished, incomplete. Everything he does it with absolute conviction and power. He has even been known to sleep in his office until something is done right. He suffers for the game.
This is true.
Essentially.
However,
right?
we did pre-order the game based on a goddamn trailer.
But look, but yeah, that's because of what we've already bought. We knew what we were getting ourselves into, and we
true.
still know. We have faith. We have trust in him. We have faith and trust in their development team. Look how closely knit they are to the community.
Oh, it's
You know, they keep in contact all the time, and they're always asking for ideas. What is it you want to see changed? Oh, we've listened to you. You want that? Okay, we've put that in there for you. They are amazing. They're an amazing dev team. They've got it sorted. So
True,
I have faith
true.
and trust in them. However, we know, and it's always the same developers as well, and this is what really annoys me, and people fall for it every time. There's always developers out there that will do that whole kind of stunt thing, cinematics. You can pre-order now for $59.99. Lovely.
Sounds like Activision. Oh, Bethesda,
yeah,
looking at you,
I was
bitch.
about to say, do you know anyone that I'm kind of like representing? But you know, you get that, and then what? And then the game's released. It's a broken, shambolic piece of shit.
Bethesda
Doesn't look
looking at you.
anything like it does in the trailer. Then what do? Oh, fuck all. Because that's how it goes down in this kind of, I don't know. I don't get it. In this business, that's what goes down. You're sold something that is not sold as seen. It is not sold to you as it originally was. It's usually incomplete, broken, buggy, and then you're told, oh, by the way, the game isn't completely finished. And not just that, but you'll need to purchase the DLC to find out what happens at the end of the story that you've just started. Fuck you. Really? Really?
God damn it, Square. I mean, what?
But they do, though. I'm sorry.
It's true.
Square
It's true.
Enix did it with fucking Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 is a goddamn amazing, beautiful game. It could have been perfect. But they decided not to do what they were set out to do. And unfortunately, a lot of things went wrong. An integral part of Square Enix, obviously, did one and left everybody else in the shit. So the whole team fell apart, essentially. And then what? It couldn't be finished because people at the top were moaning about how long it was taking. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, good things come to those who wait. Although I beg to differ on that one as well, because when Kingdom Hearts, after waiting 14 years for that release,
See, I
what a
can't
joke
comment
that was.
on 3 because I haven't played it yet. But
Oh, mate. Look, I want to love it. It is beautiful. It's nicely done. I love the mechanics. They've really brought that. They've modernized it and made it quicker. It's much better, more responsive. But the story for me just, it's not there anymore. It actually hurt me when I played that.
oh, okay. Now you're making me want to play it just to see how bad it was.
It felt right. The beginning is great, but towards the end or the middle, should I say, it's like there's chunks missing. It's like there's no plot as such. It just, I don't know. I don't get it. It just feels empty. And like with number 1, number 2, even with the ones that were released on the DS, I kind of weirdly felt that connection. There was always this bond between yourself and the game. It felt like an experience and like you're part of the story. And actually it was very emotional, but there was nothing emotional about this game. It just, I'm sorry, but that's my take on it. And I'm a massive Kingdom Hearts fan. I was bloody gutted. It's a beautiful game, plays nicely. I'm not going to bitch about that. Okay, it ticks all the right boxes when it comes to presentation. But
okay,
but
here's the biggest
the
question.
storyline is, as you know, for me, storylines are massively important to
they're
any game.
Integral to most single player and, well, actually all single player games. If your story isn't there, it's just generally
It got lost.
crap.
It got lost. Yeah, it got lost, unfortunately.
But
Again, and it's so expensive to buy still as well. And then they then didn't put all the Final Fantasy characters in it much, and or if at all. And then they charge you for the DLC that has the Final Fantasy characters in. I'm sorry, but that is one time that Square Enix, and amongst obviously Final Fantasy 15, where they pissed me off.
But
Because
the biggest question is Kingdom Hearts a Final Fantasy game? And there is only one correct answer here. Think carefully.
For the most part, I think it is.
Yes.
It really is. For the most part, it truly felt like it.
That's because it is.
I actually forgot that the Disney characters were Disney characters, if I'm honest. Because the more I went through it, I wasn't actually zoned in on the Disney side of it. I was more interested in Sora and in Kyrie and in Roxas and Axel and in all the others like Shion and
God, I'm
you know
have to go and
that
play
was
it. Need to
honestly
find a copy of it.
You need to get number 3 just to sort of like not have closure, but to.
I mean, I don't want closure because
No.
a lot of the story I remember, but I've forgotten. The lore got really weird for me. It got so tangled that I actually got lost in how they built the lore, and I'm gonna have to go back and replay all of them and try to piece things back together again. But I just need to experience it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think with, like I say, Square Enix have let us down on a handful of occasions, but those for me were the stick out moments where I've gone, what have you done? Why did you do that? Why? When you know that the original people that are buying this game, especially with Kingdom Hearts, for example, the majority of those that are buying it mostly aren't actually new players to this game.
No,
they're people that have been waiting.
They're people in my age
Yeah,
that grew up with it. It's
I was really excited about it. I was like, oh my God, you have any idea? Like, then obviously when I started playing it, I was kind of like, I'm not feeling the same. Now, people can say it's because you're not a kid anymore, you're not a teenager anymore. I disagree. I still have the feeling that a child would get when they see something that is visually stimulating and has an amazing storyline. I still get that connection with games, so that's bullshit. That's bullshit. If anything, actually, we're just less likely to be conned, essentially, or so I thought. But so you have them, and then you have other games as well. I've been following a particular YouTuber called Kira TV.
oh God.
Yeah, that dude. Seriously, I mean, I love him. He's got so much material.
I did watch a lot of that video you sent me. The first video you sent me.
Yeah.
And boy, he rips it to shreds.
But he does it with the facts for everybody to see. And this is what I like about him. Literally. And the weird thing is just that as we've been talking throughout our podcast, and I keep touching upon certain subjects, as do you, we seem to be going in line with exactly what he's thinking and the things that he's coming out with too. So it isn't just us. There's a mountain of us just trying to get out there and go, look, you need to wake up. Look at what's going on. And we're letting it happen. The gaming industry and the future of it right now, I don't know where this is going because, as Kira pointed out in one of his videos recently, there's a lot of companies out there. I mean, obviously we know about the new, the engine that's just come out. Number 5, I think it is, isn't it?
Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
I think it's Unreal.
And obviously with that in mind, there's obviously other engines as well that people utilize, but that's one of the most powerful. Yeah. The problem is with these real engines, and again, as this Kira TV has pointed out, there is already in-house assets. Yep. So you have the ability to even create your own small game and sort of put it out there and go, look at this, doesn't this look pretty? Yep. And this is what we can do with it, and this is what I can do. And if you give me crowdfunding, or if you pay me via Patreon, or you pay me via Kickstarter, this is what we're working on, and this is what we're expecting to get. Yeah. That kind of stuff. There's a lot of that going on. He said, so with all of these upgrades and stuff like that are happening, don't get me wrong, it's incredible. We love it. But it brings out the demons as well. So you get creators and devs out there now that were literally, well, no, not even devs. Can you call them devs? I don't, that utilize these engines.
I don't even know if you can call them devs, but they're
no,
definitely...
I don't think they are really. They're just people that have a mindset on how to utilize something they have in front of them to gain from it. That's what I think. Technically, they're thieves. But to utilize somebody else's engine, make a game out of it, use their assets, and then turn around and say, oh, this is a game that's in production. This is what it's going to look like. Da, 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 da. And then, you know, obviously they get their funding, they reach their target, and then nothing gets released. That is disturbing, because the more I watched Kira TV, and then the more information I started looking into online and trying to find out more of this happening, I wish I never started. Because quite honestly, if I was to sit here and go on about the amount of companies right now that are doing this very thing, it's robbery.
Yeah.
Daylight robbery. They are thieving. It isn't just like somebody pocketing 20 quid out of someone in a wallet in the street. This is millions. I'm talking millions of pounds that these people are walking away with, and they are untouchable.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It seems to always be these sort of Kickstarter ideas that people put out there. They get the interest. Their promotional material, their whole like spiel of how they're going to create, what they're doing, how they're doing it, their team. They introduce it to the whole frickin' studio, and go, please, if you can, even a small amount helps. The more people we get involved, obviously, the quicker we'll reach that target, and we'll be able to produce something. And they're very clever in how they do their, like, oh, we've got a monthly update. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we've got. We've implemented such and such. We've done this. We've changed the UI a little bit so it looks a little bit more fresh. It's a little bit glossier. And then crunch time comes. The campaign ends. They say they're going to deliver the game and such a date. And nothing happens. Nothing gets delivered. And that's wrong. It doesn't just happen with video games. It happens with tabletop stuff. Yep. It happens with a multitude of content in these Kickstarter crowdfunding campaigns, that it's wrong. And these people need to be, especially the people that are creating these sorts of content that, you know, they're promising something and never deliver. They need to be held accountable. And if you don't deliver, then honestly,
it should be prosecutable.
Yeah, it is. It should be prosecutable. If you don't deliver a product that you promise, it's like you go into the shop buying something, and then them turning around and saying, sorry, we don't stock that anymore, but you've just bought it. Like, wait, what? I've just paid X amount for this, but you don't stock it now. Hang on a minute. Like, you know, that's like obvious things like that is, you know, a supermarket should stock toilet paper, for instance. We know you're a bunch of idiots if you're in COVID and you bought all the toilet paper. However,
yes, you thieves,
you bastards. But I think that's actually an interesting point, and I'm gonna make a note of that, because I want to make a note of that. I've got some ideas for an entire freaking episode on that crowdfunding gaming wise.
Yes, it would be a good idea. We need to go further down that road, because I think it's definitely something that needs to be touched upon a lot more, and I can't understand why more people aren't being vocal about it. And that's why I'm really grateful to people like Kira TV to literally being open about this and being, look, we need to start holding these people accountable. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
There was a situation where I think I discussed this with you the other day about a game called The Chronicles of Illyria.
Oh yeah,
which is being quite heavily in the press. It's been quite heavily discussed on quite a few YouTube channels. It's all over the place. You type it into Google and it doesn't take you long to work out that actually there's a lot of problems with it. They're obviously going through a legal lawsuit at the moment. It's I think it's one of the biggest cases or something in Californian history. So I was reading.
Something stupid.
So like it's that. Serious. They've pocketed just short, I do believe, of 9 million. 9 million
That's just
in the space of 4 years. That is just ridiculous. I'm sorry, but if you can't make a game with 9 million, you have a massive problem on your hands right there. And when you look at the actual game itself, which, by the way, you can view that if you go to the Chronicles of Illyria main page. You can find that just by Googling it, for example. There's also recently been a YouTube release video that they've done, which they do this occasionally, apparently. They'll say they're going to do something, don't do it, and then when people start getting a little bit loud about it, they then put something out just to keep people happy and rolling over whilst they're consistently robbing people of their money.
Yay, lovely.
Oh, it's just
Bastards.
wonderful, isn't it? But yeah, so this guy is Jeremy, I think his name is. He keeps popping up every so often. He's the main guy, allegedly. He obviously keeps bringing up, the amazing tales of Valeria. Now, I will discuss with you what it actually is. I've got some content in front of me here.
Oh boy.
Just to sort of cover it.
You know more than I do, so I'm gonna let you rant on this one because I know so little that.
Well, yeah, because I'm obviously.
You're the one that's been following this.
Oh, hello. That is really bizarre.
Oh.
Oh, they've changed what they've put on their website, which is that threw me off a little bit there. The grind is gone. Now, this is what they've got on their website. Okay, so just to sort of round up exactly what this is and what it represents and what it's all about. Chronicles of Illyria is a persistent world role-playing game designed from the ground up to address the many problems and shortcomings that exist in today's conventional MMORPGs. Really? Was there really a problem with that? Because I play Final Fantasy XIV, and that is an MMORPG, and I don't have any problems with it. Unbelievable. Our philosophy is that role-playing games should be enjoyable from the start. Well, yeah, that goes without saying. Most games usually are. Not just the end game. In Chronicles of Illyria, you are part of an epic, ongoing storyline. Fill your character's days adventuring, sledging, farming, sieging, governing a town, a county, or a kingdom. Work towards increasing your family's holdings and building your noble house. And then in your character's final days, let them sleep the final sleep. When your soul grows young again, it is reborn into another character to make their own mark on the world. Read more.
So what I'm getting is basically...
It's more or less more of the same.
It's just... I don't know how to describe this game. It just seems like they're trying to produce something that's already been produced a million times over.
And better, by the way, may I add, because if you see the actual footage of this game, I laughed out loud. It is chronically bad. And considering how old this game is at this point in time, I don't care about your alpha, your beta, or whatever you want to call it, right? At the end of the day, at this point in time, 4 years in, I'd expect something half decent. The game that they are trying to produce is very substandard. Some of the basic teenagers out there right now could create something much better and far quicker with less money. I don't get it.
A lot of people are creating some really crazy stuff inside the Fortnite engine.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Dreams thing as well.
Oh.
A lot of people are doing stuff on there too.
Oh my god, it's amazing. And I don't understand how. I have seen footage, so I'm a little bit aware of how the game plays or how it plays.
How it doesn't play.
Or how it doesn't play, because even the devs are like, oh, we've just managed to put in a day-night cycle. Great.
Wow, like which game doesn't have that?
Oh my god. Fucking Jesus Christ, I can make a fucking day-night cycle and it'll probably take me less time. But
God.
It's
look,
not good.
He's picking some berries and putting them in a basket.
God, it's animation. Wow. You've discovered
hang on.
game.
He can do more than that. He can farm for the branches on the tree from which he got the fruit. What? Mind blown. He's pulling his axe out. What?
Oh my days. I don't think that at this point in time they need to be showing off a game that's never going to be produced.
How have they got the guts to show it off anyway? Look at it.
It's just
look
awful.
at it.
I've played games that are designed for 3-year-olds that A, look better,
literally,
and play better by the looks of it. And
it's terrible.
I just don't. They need to stop. It's what they need to do is they need to stop, step back, and go.
But what gets me right is they even have the audacity to say, we are tweaking all the things and doing the things that our people and our followers and our fans have been asking us to do. And it's like, well, how have you managed to do that? Because you've turned the comms off on every single social media page that you represent or are on.
Oh.
You've turned off the commenting. So how are they able to actually be honest with you publicly?
I think
because
only thing that they haven't turned off comments is on their Twitter. So people can still tweet them. They just can't send them direct messages.
I know Reddit, they have a Reddit page,
and
but
then
apparently
Reddit,
they've literally been removing all the negative feedback and replacing it with good stuff and running people down and slagging them off publicly for giving them bad feedback.
God's sake.
It's
just
disgusting.
It
That's
looks
not
bad.
professional.
At that point, you're just like, no, stop making games. Just take the punch, give people their money back, and close up shop. Just stop.
I don't know why he doesn't just do that and cut his losses now, because at this stage it's embarrassing. He's got a lawsuit on his case, but the sadness is, where has that money gone? I'm sorry, that game is not representative of nearly 9 million being absorbed. It's
It doesn't work. Nothing of it works.
Nothing makes sense to me. I'm sorry. It's absolutely disgusting. Apparently, they also call themselves the next generation of MMORPG.
Oh, get out!
Next generation. Are you actually laughing? Seriously.
So many games have come and gone that are tried to be the next generation of the MMORPG.
Next generation. You're comparing with the likes of things like ESO Online. You're comparing. You've got things like survival games, for example, and the likes of Fallout 76. You've got the likes of Final Fantasy 14. You've got World of Warcraft. Oh, how can you eat?
You can't touch at this point. You can't touch the two biggest MMOs in the world. Oh. And we're back. Sorry for the inconvenience. We had another technical issue. We seem to be plagued by technical issues, Dawn.
Just lately, I don't know what the hell's going on. Is it the weather? Is it just luck? I don't know at this stage.
I don't know. Either way.
Jeremy hear us talking about him.
Well, if that's the case, sort your shit. So we can move on. And on that note, I think that's probably a good idea to move on before we get any more trouble and we can't finish recording.
But yeah, I mean, like I say, for me, I think the whole coverage of the Chronicles of Valeria, again, if anyone wants to go and look into it, they can. It's all there. The facts are there. They can all see it for themselves. There's a lot of information that's taken.
Loads of stuff.
I do think they're trying to sort of like, be a little bit too much holier than thou, trying to sort of play up what they're trying to provide people. But at the end of the day, if you can't compete with what's out there already, or be even close to it, then you cannot put yourself out there as being something better than what is already out there with what you have at this stage, because it's a joke. 4 years in, joke. It's a mess. It's just disgraceful. But on top of that, I know that there are other companies as well who apparently have started off servers and stuff like that, trying to sell their own mobile version of certain games and stuff like that. And the truth is, there's nothing there to be had. And these people close everything down and they do a runner and you never see them again. Again, I need to sort of look into that a little bit deeper. I've been following, like I say, Kira TV a lot. Everybody should follow him. He's just absolutely incredible. He tends to specifically stick with RPGs and MMOs and stuff like that, so he's more that way inclined. So a lot of his coverage is based on that, but he's incredible. And again, the guy from Chronicles of Valeria sort of name dropping him, trying to get him into bother, and obviously do what he did, and in the end he just walked away because he knows he can't do nothing because he's already got a big lawsuit against him. So at the end of the day, I'm just glad that perhaps people have woken up with this one. Fingers crossed there's some justice, but I've got to be honest, the way it sounds, I don't think there will be for those that have had their money robbed. So it's a big one.
It's a big cock up on their end, so hopefully something somewhere happens, and I think we'll cover that and maybe try and get Kira into the podcast, maybe to give us more information.
I think that'd be a great idea.
We'll certainly
as I
try.
said, I'm on Discord, so I can always leave a message on there and see what goes down. But yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, if you're out there and you're listening, it sounds really hopeful, doesn't it?
We're far too hopeful. This is episode 4 at this point.
We've had some good feedback, to be fair, so I'm not going to knock it. But at the end of the day, Yeah, I'll see what I can do, because he's very, very, very interesting.
We'll definitely give that a go.
Yeah,
So.
it would be a really good idea, I think, to see.
Right.
Bring him in. But yeah.
So, because I don't want to be up all night, and obviously for obvious reasons, I do have to go back to work tomorrow.
Grind's real.
There's a few little things that I want to cover, because we don't just cover video games. As we've said, we cover fucking everything.
Everything.
So we've alluded to, obviously, TCGs and tabletop and comics, and I've not really looked at comics for a long time. Still waiting, actually, for some to arrive. However, I'm going to move over to a little bit of tabletop news. And
awesome.
Specifically, Warhammer. Now, I do play with plastic men and women and ghosts.
Kieran?
Yes?
They're not the blow-up plastic things, are they?
No. They're
just...
No, they're not that, no. Oh, God, no. No, they are literally plastic.
Okay. I just wanted to clear that up.
Just got to clear that. So, I play with these plastic models because I'm a nerd, and it's a problem. They call it plastic crack for a reason. Anyway, that's not the point. So, if you do follow Warhammer in any capacity, you'll know what's about to come up. So, in all of this, the biggest piece of news is Warhammer Plus. Now, again, kind of leads back into the whole subscription model, because, hey, everyone's getting in on it. But, now this is a big but. Warhammer Plus is going to be massive for anybody that enjoys plastic people or aliens. So Warhammer Plus is a subscription service. We get cool shit, and it's really affordable, like bizarrely affordable.
Wow, is it actually subscription now? Wow, okay.
Yeah, so
that just shows you how long I have not been touching Warhammer, let alone being near it. I mean, I was around it when it was like made out of those little made out of lead or something.
They were lead and metals, and you can still do that. You can still buy the kits, and you can still build the kits. But this is something different. So Warhammer, more Warhammer, more often. That's their tagline. Hashtag Warhammer Plus, because everyone now has to have a plus at the end of their name. Anyway, so I'm going to go through quickly what they've announced. So, if you've been keeping up or not been keeping up, here is what's going to happen. We get animations, Warhammer animations, and they look fucking incredible.
Wow.
We are getting proper full series, full animations. My hamster got really excited then. She started to squeak.
Yeah, I heard that.
She's very vocal. What the fuck? So they're apparently working on hobby shows as well. So if you do watch the YouTube channel, Warhammer TV, obviously you'll know that you get painting tutorials, and they sort of announce all the new stuff that's coming up. They do their monthly, semi-monthly, or semi-weekly Twitch live stream where they announce a bunch of cool shit. So that's going to be included in this Warhammer Plus as well. A digital vault of classic Warhammer publications and their White Dwarf magazines. So anything that they can get their hands on that's older, be it Black Library books and their White Dwarf issues, all that classic stuff is being put into this subscription, and it just gets so much better. We get full access to their apps. Yep, apps. Warhammer 40,000 and the Age of Sigmar, with more to come apparently. So this isn't a whole subscription model, okay? You get premium access to official events, so I'm assuming you'll get like a discount off of maybe tickets to Warhammer World and stuff like that.
Wow.
Exclusive subscriber offers, not sure what that includes yet, but we will find out. An free exclusive Citadel miniature worth £25 asterisk every year. So you sign up, you get the choice of 2 minis. Oh, and do the 2 minis that they're offering at the moment look fucking incredible. And access to a second exclusive subscriber miniature. So you get one for free, and you can buy the other one if you really want to. So all of this is coming on the 25th of August. Again, asterisk, asterisk. And this is the fun bit. It's really affordable. $4.99 or $6 a month. That's 50
That's
quid.
not terrible, is it?
Which is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
So, they've apparently did like a, God knows how many, an hour stream, the preview online on their Twitch channel. But, yeah, the miniatures that we're being proposed to get look amazing. I wish you could see these. You can definitely go check these out on warhammer-community.com. So the Warhammer community, we're going to get a... what do they call it? So we're getting a 40k miniature. Actually, technically, both 40k miniatures. One of them can probably be used in AOS as well, Age of Sigmar. What do they call them? I found out. One of them's a sniper, and it looks amazing. They're perched in like a scenery piece, which looks like a busted-up Sister of Battle church piece, maybe, or something like a statue that's been busted up and they're perched with their rifle, and it looks so good. And the other is just an orc, or orc, as they're called them in Age of Sigmar. I'm tempted to swing towards this sniper in this tower. It looks incredible. And it's going to be free, because I'm signing up and I'm getting that fucking miniature. We're also getting animations as well. So like I said, we're getting a bunch of stuff. They are releasing 2 animations upon launch. Those animations are called... So you get the first episodes of Angels of Death and Hammer and Bolter. 2 very different styles of animation. And honestly, I've seen the first, 6 minutes of Angels of Death. Huh. Oh boy, it's good. Yeah. It's really, really good. So, I'm hyped for that. I've not seen anything on Hammer and Bolter besides sort of the promotional stuff they put out. So, it's more anime style, cell shading, drawn, that sort of thing. Whereas Angels of Death takes a very, black and white with a red theme, basically because the animation itself, Angels of Death is a Blood Angels Astartes. So if you know the Space Marines, it's those guys. So it's gonna be good. Definitely worth checking out the first 6 minutes if you can. Obviously, that's also they're gonna do a lot more around sort of the AOS as well, and hopefully expand on all of the lore there. Painting masterclasses is one of those things as well. So if you're learning to paint, or you want to take your painting to the next level of your miniatures, they are putting this inside the subscription. So you'll always get the best techniques for a lot of people. There are so many YouTubers out there that do painting tutorials. You've also got the Warhammer TV that will show you how to paint a miniature to whatever you want to paint it to. Even if you just want to get something on the table, play with it. But now they're going real in depth, so you always get the best. So it's going to be interesting to see and use that. I think I'm gonna be using the painting tutorials a lot, and I mean a lot, because I want to take my painting to the next level. Some of my miniatures are just awesome looking, but I think they could be improved upon. So I'm going to really take into consideration what they're going to teach me.
It could be good for you to share your experiences with the whole painting of the figurines as well, because obviously it'd be nice for you to sort of do your own little tutorial or ideas that you have and share them with the community as well.
Oh, for sure. I'm going to be doing some Twitch streams. I've got actually a bunch of miniatures I've just received for Age of Sigmar. I'm building them up. They are Corn Demons, not spelt D-E-M-O-N-S. They are spelt Daemon. So D-A-E-M-O-N-S, but it's demons. And they're like a force that just wants to bloody everything to death. It's great. So they've got big swords and smashy fists and stuff, and they just want blood. All chaos. I fucking love it. So I'm going to probably be doing painting of those. Not necessarily a tutorial, but sort of following a guide, but twisting that guide to make shortcuts, and I'm going to do that all on stream at some point. I just need to buy some spray paint so I can undercoat them.
Yeah, as you do.
As you do. You definitely need to do that when you're painting. If you're more one for the lore, and the lore is enormous. For the 41st millennium and the Mortal Realms, we're getting lots of it. Like a lot. So they're going to get a thing called Lore Masters. It's an official Warhammer lore show presented by experts. So apparently each episode is going to dive into the rich worlds of Warhammer and lift the lids on iconic characters, locations, and events that have defined Warhammer in both the 40k and AOS from the beginning. So if you're one for books and the lore and how stories change, then Lore Masters is definitely for you guys. We are getting battle reports. So now they've actually started to use the name Battle Report. You know it's official because they've never used the word Battle Report. I was talking to a friend of mine who's been in the hobby now for a long time. He remembers all the stuff you used to be able to do that you now can't. And even he said they've never used the word Battle Report. So they're going to be showing off and showcasing matched play and narrative battles, which you can use in all of your books across Age of Sigmar and 40k and boxed games. So if you're one for boxed games such as Warcry, Aeronautica Imperialis, you've got Kill Team, you've got Adeptus Titanicus. All of these have their own campaign play, so I'm assuming they're going to be putting this matched play to those as well. So they're going to be just putting on display all those and doing a battle report like they would do in White Dwarf. Yeah, there's a lot here. So we get the apps.
There's tons.
There's so much. Oh my god, it's
Value for money right there, though.
For $5, we're getting so much stuff, and
Absolutely.
It just grows. So the apps, if you didn't know that they did an official 40k app, which is ass. I'm sorry, the 40k app sucks. I'm sorry, Game. the gods at Games Workshop, they designed an app and it's rubbish. But there's, I guess they're going to make changes. There's also the Age of Sigmar app, which I assume is a bit like the 40k app. Not that I've used it. But these apps contain generally like all of your battle tomes and all of your codices, as well as an army builder, generally, hopefully, Crusade army managers and builders. And apparently, if you have Warhammer Plus, you'll have access to all of those included to your subscription. All you do is obviously log into the account that's got your subscription to it. If you already have a subscription to the app, the 40k app, as a way of saying thanks for being one of those early beta testers, if you upgrade your subscription to a Warhammer Plus sub in the first month after its launch, you'll receive an exclusive model after 9 months. So that free model I talked about, yeah, you get that 3 months early. And they'll even... hang on. As an existing 40k app subscriber, if you take out a full year's subscription, you'll receive an additional gift. At no extra cost, apparently. So, did you subscribe? Well, you're an idiot. No, you're not. The app is not for me. I beta tested it. It was shite. But if you buy the codices, you get a code in the back, and then you can put the code into the app, and you get access to the... Why did you do that? And we're coming to the end of this now. Jesus, there's so much here.
Well, before we take off, because you just mentioned like tabletop stuff.
Yes.
I'm not sure if anyone, well, I'm sure most people are aware by now, but Dungeons and Dragons, D&D themselves just released a game, did they not?
There's a, yeah. What do you call
Dark Alliance.
That's it. Yes, it's a bit like Baldur's Gate from what I saw.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, but I don't think it's actually been received that well. I was actually really looking forward to this, but now I've seen the kind of comments that they have at the moment on Facebook and on Twitter, and it's not great. Again, people are saying it feels unfinished and more of the same thing that we keep talking about here. Devs not completing the work that they've been given, and people rushing people to complete things on time. It's really sad because it actually could have been quite cool by the looks of it, but from what I can see, it's...
I've just looked into it, and yeah, they are being destroyed. Yep. Holy shit.
And the response they came out with, although it was something better than nothing, it was kind of, they just sort of said, we're listening to you. We're taking things on board. Well, it's a bit late. You don't take things on board after a game has been released and the money has been given away. You kind of take things on board as you're creating. That's what beta testing's for.
You do. That's the
what
beta, yeah.
Alpha's for. these are stages you go through to stop these problems happening. What is going on? It's crazy.
Oh my god,
I don't get it. And especially with someone like D&D.
Oh, Wizards of the Coast is just that. This is what I don't like. Okay, so Wizards of the Coast own Dungeons and Dragons. It's their IP.
Yeah.
They own a fucking lot of stuff. And the thing with Wizards is they don't care.
It certainly comes across as that, and that's sad because D&D has got such a well-known reputation amongst its peers and amongst people that have been sort of grown up with it. Really, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons have been around for quite a substantial amount of time.
A hell of a long time.
Yeah, so they've got a reputation.
It's just the thing is they're owned by Hasbro, I believe. Now Hasbro, that while they're not necessarily known for their video games, and they're definitely known for their like toy
usually
lines
very
and
childish stuff.
But
yeah.
I mean, they're Hasbro have the Transformers line. Oh, they have a hell of a lot of stuff, but they have the Transformers lines, one of the biggest lines in the world. So all of their Transformers toys, they listen, they look at what's happening in the Transformers universe, and they create the toys around them. Oh, bear with me. Okay, being ill is not fun. But the thing is they let Wizards be their own company, which is not a problem. But Wizards as a company have got worse. Now, I noticed this with Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering. So I got into Magic very late with War of the Spark. And soon realised that what money I was putting in, you won't necessarily get out, which is fine. You know, it's a card game. You're not always going to get the money out that you put in.
Of course not. And I think as adults we know that you don't necessarily get what you put in.
Some cards are worth loads of money, others not so much. However,
obviously,
when they start releasing sets that cost £10 a pack plus, excuse me, you know, the average price of a pack is £4. You start putting your biggest player base for any game that you will ever make in the wrong area of, oh, I want to buy a pack, I want to support you, but it's too expensive. And this is, oh, God damn it.
You're okay.
I'm dying. I take a drink. I think this is what's happened, however. They've taken on board how Dungeons and Dragons as a tabletop experience would work and gone, hey, maybe it works as a video game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It just you can do Dungeons and Dragons properly. There is a way to do it, and it's not the way they've done it. Baldur's Gate. Now, if you remember Baldur's Gate, I remember Baldur's Gate well. That is a proper Dungeons and Dragons game. That's Dungeons and Dragons. That's D&D. Why?
I have to say, I mean, after looking at like the reviews, B, the kind of screenshots and the videos that have been put up, and you want it to be good because it looks kind of okay, you know. But
see, Dungeons,
after 5 minutes of watching it, you just kind of like, is this it?
This is right. Okay, so
hack/loot.
It's Diablo. It's Diablo meets Baldur's Gate, and Baldur's Gate did it better. So
I don't understand why they got to do this. So why didn't they put I'm sorry, but D&D, you know, it's all about the story, the characters, enveloping yourself in information and descriptives, and so you'd think that it would be reasonably easy to presume that they'd be capable of making something that would kind of transpire and come across a little bit more intelligently and a little bit more detailed and fine-tuned than this. I'm a little bit gutted. I've got to be honest. If it comes down in price in time, I may well consider it. But at this stage, I'm kind of like, do you know, I've seen this kind of shit before. It's been done time and time again. There's nothing really realistically any different to anything else that I've played that are similar. it's kind of the same shit, rinse, repeat, hack slash loot. Ugh.
So you've got Baldur's Gate. Obviously, they've released several games over the years, and I've just been reminded they did Dark Alliance. Now I remember Dark Alliance, of the same name, people, and I've just hit the wiki because I can't find any other without trawling the internet for the scores. So the reception of the Baldur's Gate version of Dark Alliance, again, still a D&D game. Here we go, Metacritic. The PS2 version got an 87 out of 100.
Really?
Yeah, the Xbox version, for some reason, was 83. I don't know why it got that, but it did. They also released it on Game Boy Advance and GameCube.
Wow.
And both of those scored 76 and 79, respectively.
Wow.
This is a game that was released in 2001.
Wow.
So, a role-playing hack-and-slash looting game released in 2001 is better than a game of the same name released in 2021.
Wow.
So that just goes to show that actually, Wizards fucked up.
Yeah.
Big time. So they leased out their IP to another company. Oh, and they made a better game. How bad
mate, I just wish they'd stop doing this. Again, though, it's another example of something that is unpolished, incomplete, and not really what people were expecting.
Nope.
It's worse.
It's worse.
It's getting reviews from 4 out of 10, 6 out of 10. It's not really getting what I expected it would, and it certainly isn't doing as well as it should be. But
it goes to show that, when you think about it, 20 years ago, a game was made that scored higher. Oh, this was done by BioWare. Holy balls, BioWare doesn't even make games anymore. That's a lie, they do. They got absorbed by Microsoft. But
that's correct.
They don't make games.
This is just... It's really sad because it did look good. Some of the gameplay even looked reasonable. And I thought, actually, perhaps this will be a bit different. It won't be an expensive heap of junk. Like everything else seems to be at the moment. Yeah, I don't know. I mean...
Holy stupid.
It's just ridiculous. Again, this is what it's about, isn't it? There just seems to be this terrible, 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 terrible way of putting games out there, not giving us proper gameplay, selling us an unfinished item, and we're supposed to sit back and just accept it. I'm getting to a point now where I will not tolerate that anymore. And if I ever buy a game again that I'm expecting to be good, but I'm not going to buy a game ever again anyway based on a fucking movie trailer,
Oh, no.
It's a bit like that new one, isn't it? The Avatar game that's going to be coming out as well. There's no gameplay to that. It's just a lovely cinematic. Doesn't it look pretty? That's it.
But it does look pretty. But at the same time, I was never a fan of the original release of Avatar. So I don't really care about this. What?
It's just another example, though, isn't it? It's beautiful. It looks creative.
But they were saying
stunning.
About that the original stuff.
But it's a cinematic. Give us some bloody gameplay. I'm sick of it. Like,
show me.
These people. No, well, it's right though, isn't it? These people, they know what they're doing. They also know that there are dumbasses out there that will go blind into these cinematics and go, "Oh my god, I've got to have it! Yeah, take my money, please. Take my money." Like, really?
Square Enix, we blame you. God damn it.
But the thing is, I'll put money into people that I trust. Now, Square Enix, like I say, they've earned my trust over the years because they have produced my favourite games for the most part.
Oh yeah.
As have the likes of like Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog have made some of my favourite games ever.
Oof.
Uncharted being my most favourite. I fucking love it. But they get the story, the narrative, the balance of graphical beauty of the graphics that they can produce. They get the balance right in my eyes. And again, not very often do I ever see a game from them where I don't feel like it's unpolished. So whatever they do it right.
Yep.
They've got the balance quite right. And if they do slip up, they change things quickly, and it's done and it's dusted. Say no more. Obviously, recently I don't know what's happened to them, but yeah, that's what I say about Naughty Dog at the moment. But again, they don't put out there. They don't lie about what they're producing.
No.
They don't misrepresent or missell their games, although admittedly there was a bit of a to-do over, obviously people bought the game thinking that they'd get to play as Joel and that, you know, but obviously too many spoilers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely need to play the game, so please don't.
Yes, too many spoilers. Don't want to go there, but all I can say is they fucked it for everybody for the most part, and a lot of fans are very angry. And how anyone can't know at this point what it was about and why, well, it doesn't take long for you to find out. But at the end of the day, yeah, okay, so people brought that game on the premise that would be the case, and that all the characters would be playable, and and it obviously hasn't worked out like that at all. At the end of the day, they don't lie about what they're producing and what they're selling and what they're putting out there, and what they do produce is good, it's solid, and they always show gameplay. That's one thing I will always love them for. They always show gameplay before release.
Yep.
This is what we're producing. This is what we've got in the bag. This is what we're doing. This is what we're working on. There's no bollocks. And I respect Naughty Dog for that. Square Enix, you know, they've done their little bits. They've screwed up here and there. There's obviously some big to-dos going on in the background that we don't really know about. And again, it's all personal stuff, I expect. But, you know, it is what it is. But they somehow pull it off.
Yep.
Then you've got the likes of... Like, again, we've had this discussion before, CD Projekt Red. And again, I don't want to keep using them as an instrument, because there are companies out there that have done far worse than they have over the years. We know that. So it isn't right to keep using them, and it isn't right to keep sort of pushing their name out there and making a thing of them, when actually we know for a fact there are far worse games on the market, and there are far worse games that have been released. Rockstar, we know, are like Bethesda.
We're not calling you out, damn it.
No, I'm not calling you out. You know, I mean, playing GTA today, I mean, my God, how many times do I have to keep prepping for that damn heist? You know, because it keeps bugging out on me, and then it keeps making me play the prologue over and over again to get back into the online session. Seriously, sort that shit out, because there's no need for that. I shouldn't have to keep doing that. Why not have access from the very beginning and have a choice at the beginning? Do you want to play the main story, or do you want to play online? Instead, they sneak in a little button at the bottom of the screen. Press squares, join online. Bollocks. Make it more obvious. Make it easier for people to understand. Because I tell you what, for someone that don't play GTA like I don't all that often, it throws you off, trust me. But anyway, bugs. That game, littered with bugs. GTA is fucking abysmal for bugs. I have never known anything quite like it. This game is how old?
It plays
old.
on a toaster, so...
But it's really old, and it's still running, and it's still being flogged to death, and people are still playing. I'm one of them, although granted I only started playing it recently, and that was because my friends are playing it, and I was like, what's all this about then? Because I've been told over and over again how good it is. And I don't get it. The only thing I will say for me is it's like therapy, running through a town, blasting people's heads off with a homing missile. It's fucking great.
Do you need help?
It just shows you what my mental state's like right now. But yeah, you know, that element to it gives it a little bit of fun, and accidentally killing your mates and all this kind of stuff, and you can be jovial about it. It's brilliant. But again, it's a buggy mess, and people are ploughing money into the machine and propping it up and allowing them to get away with it. It is goddamn disgusting. I'm sorry, but it is. And at this point, shut your servers down, make a better fucking game, and stop creaming off what is there. Well, create something that's a little bit more, you know, that isn't broken a lot.
Well, they're
and
just
again,
trying to milk it, aren't they? That's the problem. They've updated the game or the online side now so many times.
Yeah.
That it's
Milk it.
become saturated and they can't go back and fix it. And they need
That's
to
just
stop.
crazy. I don't get it. I mean, so you've got GTA, which is a buggy mess. Then you have the likes of things like Fallout 76 from Bethesda, as they're well known. For sort of, well, I needn't say anymore. ESO as well. Oh, I'm sorry, Bethesda, but again, how many years have you been around? How many games have you produced? These games that you're still creaming off to this very day are still problematic. I don't get how games that old can be so problematic still. Fallout 76 still occasionally has bugs. It's not perfect at all, and far from it. I've played that again with friends and whatnot recently. I say recently, last year. And I enjoyed it to begin with, but the more I played it, and the more I felt like, what is the point? I don't get what I'm actually earning here. What am I getting from this? Didn't feel like I was getting anything out of it, so I walked away from it in the end because it's just a lot of grind, and it's quite repetitive after a while. It's just one of those. You either love it or you hate it, and for me, there's just no middle ground on it, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, so I'm better off walking away from stuff that I don't know how I feel about, because I'm not enjoying it.
No.
So it's just no point at that point.
Yes, it's just easier to just walk away and say, no, sod it.
Yeah, I
Screw
mean,
that noise.
I can even go back to GTA and still feel like I'm getting something. Again, it's kind of repetitive, but when you've got your friends online, you're kind of blowing each other up and being a bit of a dick. It's great fun, That's it, really. The PvP element with friends is fine.
Yeah.
I don't like being in the griefing servers, though. Jesus Christ. They just camp out on the areas they know that people spawn in after doing their heists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they just blow you to shit as soon as you get in. It's just boring.
It's easier to not play it and get aggro with it. It's like, I can't be bothered with this. If I want to get shot at, I'll play Call of Duty.
Well, we even noticed like 2 people that were in the server with us at one point. They were clearly modders. They were just, you could blast them with anything and they just weren't dying at all. And they were stood there with a very menial gun and they blow us to shit. I just don't get it. And I was like, what? And it didn't even make sense. Nothing adds up.
Jesus.
So we're just like, this is really weird. So we got all of us on one person, and that one person can take us out with one shotgun. Whatever.
Okay,
Whatever. That is all kinds of wrong. So, that was a bit of an eye-opener. I was just like, I can't be doing with this. I'm fucking off out of here. It's just driving me mad. So, I mean, again, that's a buggy mess. The list goes on. There's too many companies that are doing this, which then, like as we were mentioning before, talking about the Chronicles of Valeria and things like that, you've got to be real. I've got to be real here. They're doing that, but are what the bigger companies doing any different? I mean, okay, they're not asking us for money up front, but they might as well.
Yeah.
Because they're doing the same thing through pre-order. That's all that is.
Pre-order is essentially you putting your money down.
Yeah. It's no different to having a crowdfunding or a Kickstarter in many respects, I'm sorry. But, okay, fair enough. There's probably more protection there, contractually, if you like, through PSN or Xbox Gold or whatever you want to call it, Xbox Pass, whatever. So obviously, you're kind of protected on that front a little bit more, but at the end of the day, you're still putting money down for something that is incomplete, that you do not know what it's going to look like when you get it. You're not even going to know if it's a finished product. It's very, it's almost stepping in the realms of something very dark, really. And that I'm finding it more and more worrying that this pre-order thing is becoming a thing. It wasn't a thing back in the day. You just wait for the friggin' game to come out on the release date and you'd go and get it. Now they're saying, we want your money before you've even got the game. I just think that's bloody cheeky, actually. Although, admittedly, hands down, as we've just admitted, we did put pre-order payment down on Final Fantasy XIV and Walkabout, at the end of the day, I know what we're going to get from them. And I know that you know, too. So,
do I ever know? Do I ever fucking know? Oh, boy. We're in for a good one, boys.
Oh, yeah. It's obviously, It's different when you can trust a company and you feel that you know what you're getting. They've not let us down yet, and that's different. But when you're getting a game that is from scratch, or even a run up to it, a sequel, if you haven't actually seen gameplay, I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned at the amount of cinematics we're receiving and never the gameplay.
Yeah.
In the future, after what had happened, again, I don't want to keep using them as an example, but I was fooled by Cyberpunk. I let it get to me. I let Keanu Reeves into my life. That is the problem right there. And Keanu Reeves sold the game, and it really shouldn't have been. But everybody loves Keanu Reeves that much that they're like, yeah, just take our money. But that was it. I don't even need to see the game at this point. Just take it. So we were fucking like, oh my God, I can't even believe how much of a wreck of an idiot I am at this point. It's like, and then I bought the model and the keyring and this, and I was going mental on it because I'm a massive Keanu Reeves fan, and I don't think anyone isn't. But again,
I'm not, so I can't be in that boat. So,
so it's just like I was fooled, and I don't know whether you want to call it fooled because that might be a bit harsh. I don't know. I'm kind of raw with it still, and I want to love the game, and I want to value the fact that they're keeping it on and they're staying strong and they're doing updates regularly. And I hats off to them. I'm sorry, they're trying to rectify something that actually wasn't the devs' fault, and it's the devs now that are picking up the bullshit as a result of the CEOs and the big men sat on top taking the money and letting everybody else and their minions beneath them to take the rap. That right there is sickening. Although the main guy came out and he did apologize publicly, and he did do a video saying that they were aware that basically there was problems. They shouldn't have let it out. It needed another 12 months. They were honest about it. Fair play. Can't fault them for that as well, because that takes some bloody guts, and then their shares plummeted and it's not good. No. But they're trying their best now to rectify that, and I think this is the very last time that I will allow that to happen to me again. Yes. Now I am. What they've done is they've done me a favor, actually. They've woke me up, and I'm hoping they've woke up everybody, including yourselves out there that are listening to this right now. Okay, wake up. Do not allow these companies to take your money without you seeing any gameplay, because this is where we're being. It's almost like a con. I don't want it, again. That sounds like a really heavy word.
Vote with your wallet. Vote with your money.
You know,
don't fall into the trap.
I'm trying not to be too nasty about it, because again, we have to remember it's not the devs' fault. They're merely doing their work that they're asked to complete. It's contractually obliged.
Yeah.
And I completely, my heart is with them a lot of the time. So, you know, again, all I'm saying to folk is we need to start looking at ourselves. We are feeding the machine. We are responsible for how and where our money is put and what we purchase.
Yep.
Nobody else. So you need to step back. Don't just look at these cinematics. Don't be sold by the famous person doing the voiceovers and stuff like that. Screw that, okay? Because that, again, is just another promotional tool. It's another way of getting into your heads. It's commercialism, right there in a nutshell. And we're falling for it. Don't fall for the nice guy who's doing the main action scene, like Keanu Reeves. Don't fall for the voiceover artist, you know? Just literally sit back and say to yourself, right, this is going to be 50 quid's worth of sodding game. Well, most likely.
And the rest.
And the rest. Well, I'm just going off an average. Say 70 quid sits in the ballpark right there.
Yep.
Usually it's more than that. Now we know they're getting more expensive, and we're well aware on the PlayStation 5 games are roughly about 70 quid.
Well, anything in current gen or next gen at this point is, going to be 70 quid upwards.
That is disturbing.
Yeah, it is.
That's scary. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, this is a lot of money. I'm sorry, but it is a lot of money. It might not be to some. I'm not saying it is to everybody, but for those of you that have to sit there thinking, should I or shouldn't I buy that game this week? Because if I do, I could be broke, or I might have to make do without XYZ to have this game. Before you do that, ask yourself, have I seen gameplay? have I seen the actual reality of this game working?
Mm.
No. Well, if you haven't, I'm sorry. Keep your money in your purse or your wallet or your arse. I don't know where you stick it. But at the end of the day, just please think about what you're doing, because we have been burnt. We all have, as gamers individually. We've all been burned in some form or another.
Yep.
And I don't see any reason in this day and age, with the technology that we have, with the amount of people that we have that are going into programming, we have people, youngsters now, that are doing mods for the like of things like Beat Saber, for example, things like Skyrim, for example. They are these younger lads now and girls and whatever else in between. They are incredible, and these people can do all sorts. And I'm thinking, well, if these people can change the face of something that's so, sold so well, like Skyrim, for example. I mean, I've noticed that game's gone back up in price as well. 40 quid. Pff, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm still holding on to my VR version because, yeah, boys.
Yeah, we've got it on VR as well, thank God, as well.
Oh, so good.
But still, I mean, the price of it's going ridiculously high now, again. I take it it's because of the anniversary. It's the 10th anniversary this year.
Oh, Jesus, now I feel old.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, again, I don't want people to continuously get stung. I certainly don't want to be stung anymore, as I'm sure you don't, Kieran. And I think the general advice would be, guys, keep your money in your wallet. Don't go out there doing your pre-ordering, because you don't know what you're purchasing. You don't know what you're putting your money into. If you're pre-ordering based on gameplay, I get it. If you think it is for you, that's brilliant. But cinematics alone, I'm sorry. It does not cut it with me. I'm sorry, developers. I'm sorry, CEOs out there. Movie cinematics do nothing for me anymore. You can stick your famous person in there. You can do your big voiceover actor. I don't give a shit. You're getting none of my money until I've seen what I'm going to be paying for. It's as simple as that. And it should be a thing. It should be a thing. If you can go to the shop and you can pick up an item and have a look at it and browse around it before you purchase it, why shouldn't that be the same for games? If you're buying them online, and this is the problem, because it takes it away from... Back in the day, we used to be able to go to our local shop, didn't we? Our game store, and go, oh, yeah, can I try that out or whatever? Oh, yeah, just help yourself to the console down here. We'll do this for you.
Yep.
And he'd sit there for 5 minutes playing on it. And he'd be like, whoa, mind blown. Yeah, I'll buy it, man. But you don't get that anymore.
Nope. Long gone is that.
Yeah, so you can't do what people should be able to do, and that is try before you buy, or at least even a demo, actually. I think, again, back in the day, I used to be able to get demos on disc with magazines. Do you remember that?
I remember the magazine demos.
Oh,
they were like,
mate.
20-minute, half-hour demos you played?
Yes.
They were always timed, which sucked, but you got like unlimited access to the entirety of the game for that time.
I still got a demo disc somewhere with... I know it had Broken Sword 1 on it.
I've got so many demo discs somewhere in the flat.
Mate, they're brilliant. This is the thing, though. When we look back then, that was when I feel gaming was truly nerdy, truly geeky, and, it had a vibe. I don't know what it is, but it had a vibe, and it had its thing going on, and I felt really good when I used to go to the store, buy my mag with a, PlayStation 1 demo on it or what have you, and I'll be like, whoa, this is freaking awesome. Yeah, I'm going to go and buy that now. That works for me.
That is the best way to do it, because you get a chance at gameplay, you get a chance to see how it's going to control, you get a chance to see how much you're going to enjoy the game more than anything, and that's that's the easiest way to do it. Is maybe one day demos will become the norm, and people, when they start voting with their wallets and not buying into the pre-order scheme, more companies will have to go, shit, we're not getting pre-orders. Okay, so we actually have to show what we're going to release. And
do a demo. What is the biggie with that? I don't understand why that is such a problem. I mean, that new game that's just coming out that I know that both myself and Alan want, Nexus. I'm not sure if you've seen the gameplay for that.
Not seen anything for that, no.
Oh, mate, check that out. Seriously, If
I
you
will have a gander.
if you like Automata, which I know you do,
Oh, Automata's great.
yes, it's
Ooh.
very much like that.
Okay, I'll have to have a look at that.
It's a similar kind of thing going down. It's a little bit more futuristic than that, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a bit more. I think it's a little bit more fast paced from what I can make out.
Okay.
I'm not even sure actually. It might be by the same makers, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look at that because that's.
But yeah, Nexus it looks really, really fucking awesome. Like so cool. So Alan's tried it out. He liked it for the most part, but he has stressed that he doesn't think it's worth the money that it's at the moment. He said, do I feel it's that worth that money for me personally? No. He said, you might like it or someone else might like it, but if you're prepared to pay that, then I don't know. Based on what I've played here, I don't feel like it's not worth that kind of value.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, I mean, off a demo, I suppose you're not going to get really the full amount of expectation.
No.
And certain games, unfortunately, when they do demos, generally only give you a very basic snippet, which I kind of wish they wouldn't. I really just think they should give you the first kind of scene or the first level or do you know what I mean? The first chapter of something. So then you get at least a chapter of play. You get to have a feel for it, get into the story to start with, gives you a good kind of idea of what's going on. I think that would be fair enough. I think demos are essential to this right now. We got stung by CD Projekt Red, although on release that game was not expensive. It wasn't the most expensive game out there. No. It was, I thought, quite reasonable. So that I don't feel like I can be very angry at them at that point. But yeah, I just think it should go down the pathway of releasing demos and being honest with your crowd. Be honest with your fans, your followers, your customers. Those that are propping up your businesses, those that are keeping you in jobs, you know, we are part of that forever turning wheel. Without us, you have nothing. Have more pride, have more respect, and start thinking about your fans' needs, what their wants are, and listen more. Communicate better. It's so simple. Don't keep trying to talk or big anything else up or make out you're better than someone. We're not interested in the corporate bullshit and your cover-ups for how you failed. We just want good, complete, finished games that we can expect a few hiccups here and there. I think that's fair. We know that the occasional little blip is acceptable.
Yep.
But these games over the last 5 years are being released, and some of them, not all of them, are unplayable at best, and some of them are so laggy or glitchy that it becomes a laugh. And that's what made Skyrim famous, for fuck's sake. It wasn't, let's face it, it wasn't the story, it wasn't the gameplay, it was the fact that it was so laggy and buggy. Skyrim and all the other Skyrims, well, the Skyrims, but things like Morrowind, etc., Oblivion, they've become a meme over the years because of the poor voice acting, the numerous things that just make you laugh. But the things, and again, we shouldn't be laughing at that, and I keep bringing this up, are bugs worthy of being laughed at, or should be actually be going, that shouldn't be happening? Why am I even laughing at this? This is not funny. I've paid for this. But we do laugh at it.
I reckon maybe, just maybe, that should be the topic for next week's. Bugs. Video game bugs.
Video game bugs.
I reckon.
Which are the best? Which are the worst? If you rate them.
That should be next. I reckon that should be next week's topic because that I could have fun with that. We could have fun with that.
Oh, definitely. We have a bit of a laugh with that one, for sure.
I think we're also going to have to round this off.
Oh, definitely. We could carry on talking for days, weeks, months, years.
Yeah, and, we have to do
we
other
have
things.
Lives. Well, some of us have got a life anyway, but,
Oh, well, I don't know about you. So, anyway, yes, we've had that's our thoughts for this week, and, well, let us know what you think, because, we do this for you, not us. Well, Maybe a little bit for us, but mostly you.
Well, it's a bit of therapy, I think. I think I need therapy.
Yes. What?
I get too passionate about certain things. Seriously.
No, that's good. However, we do have socials. We've mentioned this before. Come hit us up on Facebook. Come hit us up on Twitter. Twitch. And, big news. We're now on YouTube. Like, properly on YouTube. So if you want to come and listen on YouTube, although you'd have heard this on Spotify first. And anyway, so generally, the day after this, the episodes will go out on Spotify. They will then go up on YouTube. So you can go and listen to that if you wish to.
Yes, and leave us some lovely comments underneath our YouTube vids. It'd be good to hear from you, because you can't really do it on Spotify and things like that.
There's no real comment system. But we have had some great feedback recently, which is awesome. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
And yes, other than that, I think all that remains is for us to sign out. So, Dawn, do the DJ thing.
I get to do the DJ thing. Oh my god. Yeah, so guys, anyway, thank you very much for listening again. Obviously, we're always about on our various platforms, as Kieran has rightly pointed out, so you can have communication with us and give us your thoughts. Again, you can give us your thoughts on Facebook. That'd be great to hear from you.
Yes.
As he stated, we're doing it for other people, and I think what we're trying to do here as well is hit on, subjects that a lot of people kind of stumble away from or don't bring forward to you, and I want to make that prominent. I want to make sure that we're doing things that need to be heard. I'm not going to sit here and not pull any punches.
No.
So yeah, everything you get from us will be honesty at the very best, at the very least, anyway. But yeah, so I'm going to sign us out. Thank you very much for listening. You've been listening to Geeked. And so you can follow us with anything to do with news, reviews, interviews, and everything across all things geeky and nerdy across the spectrum. And we look forward to catching up with you soon. We shall be back again with another podcast, hopefully within nothing, like 3 or 4 days usually is, isn't it? Something like that.
It'll yes.
We generally try to. Anyway.
Something will happen.
Something will happen. Yeah, something definitely will happen. So that's that. So without further ado, we shall catch you guys very, very soon. Keep rocking and look after yourselves and each other, and enjoy your, broken, not so broken games these days. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Happy gaming.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Hoorah.